daggone Roger, he's a freaking sweetheart. Stevie just round the corner over there, junkie skidder, pulling the rack. Robin had to, he had a brake dragging this morning. He had to return back to the mill to work on it. But he'll be back and he's gonna skid all there. Everybody is rocking and rolling today. We are moving the freaking wood. It feels a whole lot better from last week, I'm telling you. Now, Guinea's machine, she is, she has, everything works without a hitch, just ask her. See how Guinea is this morning. Well, what's the verdict? Does everything work?
Yes, everything works except we have one little problem.
What?
Is this on?
Yes.
Okay, this is how Wade thinks you're supposed to use your radio.
What'd I do?
Now, I'm not going to tell you how long it took me to figure out. He put the radio back in upside down. So now, if I want to look at my radio, I just stand on my head and adjust the radio. You ain't right. I'd say that's the thing I can fix today when I got time. Yeah, everything's working good, but you see why I thought I had a leak. But I've never seen it trip after the first year.
Oh, it was oil backed up in there?
Had to be.
Okay. Love you too. All right.
Everybody has a great day.
Yes. Get us some poplar. Okay. We're sawing poplar. The markets are changing. They're coming back. We are starting to freaking smile again for the first time since Corona. Well, since way before Corona, actually, in our industry. But anyway, so you're trying to get some of the ash out of here. This is a very good landowner. This is a red bone job, but the red bone's not the landowner. He's a partner. But it's going, I mean, it is as is. There's some things that we're cutting hard-ish, but it's ash, it's stuff like that. It's got to go. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. Derek and them, they're across that field over there. He's cutting on the woods on the other side of the field. You see Junkie Skidder over there meandering around. That's where Stevie's setting up. He's getting ready to drop that rack. He's got the rack with him. Then he'll come get the den. Now me and Raji, that's gonna be Derek and Robin over there, which Raji might work with Derek for a while, because my trees I can cut my trees ahead and leave them. And a lot of times Derek needs to have a skidder on him to pull one up or something. So, oh, and here's extra trees. Here's trees I knocked over yesterday. Yep. I killed a walnut and I killed a cherry yesterday. So these are pulled out extra. Cutting mistakes. But that's where we've cut. Here's where we've already cut. That poplar grove over there, we've already cut in that. And then I got this to cut. And you see a lot of the twisty twirls and stuff like that. Basically, cockeyed wood. I don't know how to say it. Low canopy height. You can see the low canopy height on the edge. We call that edge effect. We call that edge effect. I don't know if that's actually a term. The thing that edge effect does is your canopy height drops down. So the quality of wood on the edge of the tractor woods is less quality because it's dropping down and your defects are climbing. So that's your less quality. And look at this poplar, it's been baking. Of course, it had a piece that slabbed off. That hollow right there was a double. Probably grow back from an old stump, old logging stump. But anyways, it broke off and fell out in the field probably 30, 40 years ago. You know, and you got that big wound left in the tree. You know, and then sassafras, you got sassafras. You got some, well, we got some hackberry, or some short hackberry there. It's just stuff that, now what they call it, you know, in a nature people, they use that edge effect scenario on the edge of the field for prey to hide. So now, here's one of them situations where that's not good. Edge effect's not good for the pocketbook. It's not good for your portfolio, but it's good for the prey and wildlife. So you kind of got a little bit of, you know, you gotta weigh that into the situation, you know. But let's get Brutus going. Roger's done started up because Roger's a daggone sweetheart. And I'm gonna start swinging some wood here. All right, we're getting ready to cut the big ash tree here. Okay. We are up here on the northeast corner. Me and Robin's working together. Robin's in the green skidder. I think I left Roger with Derek and took Robin back here in the back. This property's got a lot of ash on it. A lot of what we're doing is ash. We get down in the bottom later on. I got some pretty cool footage down there, I believe. But this is against the property line. I was cutting right on the property line, pushing them trees off the property line. And I didn't have a lot of room to lay them, so I went ahead and laid them out there in the field. And now I'm gonna clean them up, and Robin's gonna pull the excess off. But that's no big deal. I can play it a little bit. Just try to hold her down if you can, because I'm making videos. But anyways, Robin's gonna come along and help me clean this field back out, because we'll have to get all the branches and stuff out of the field here. I think 10 of them farm systems, I'm not sure. But there just wasn't enough room to lay this tree out without tearing a bunch of other stuff down, so I had to put it out in the field. I hate putting stuff in the field. Sometimes you have no choice. It takes forever to grow trees back. It don't take long to clean the field out. So if you get in a situation where you cannot find room to park in there, you're gonna have to, or you can't, I'm watching another stream. When you can't find room to put the tree down, you're gonna have to put her out there. Cause a little cleanup, like it or not. Things are ramping up going into the fall. We're having a good fall. Weather's been, this summer has been wet, but the weather's changed in the fall here. It's been pretty good weather. The help us get this spot beefed up, you know. When I'm actually editing this, I think it's the that don't look right. Oh, 14th of February. It's Valentine's Day. I'm working on this on Valentine's Day. I don't know when I'll have it aired. I figure sometime early March maybe. But, and the reason, those of you that don't know, the reason I've got this oddball time frame here where I'm showing stuff we done in the fall, and here's Aaron Boone. Oh no, Jason works a lot. What? Hang on. Oh, it's his pigeon. Poor Jason. Jason works a lot, come up with the Derby Dirt Bunch here. He went to move some stuff in from PA, and I think Will Preach for Food caught it on video, and you can check it out on his channel. Well, he kind of got an eyes patch and it lost that big Zeus, the big fancy Ford, the good Ford he's got. Lost control, got in the ditch, and crinkled his tailgate. It could have been worse. It ain't that bad. It could have been worse. But all the guys have been ragging his butt. And I think the only people that recorded it was Will Preach for Food and Man Behind the Scenes, Aaron Boone. I think his channel's Aaron Boone. So you have to check it out. But yeah, I think him's the only two that actually got it recorded. But it was an event. It was definitely an event. Larry got involved, Kyle got involved, and they said Marlene showed up for a little bit. It was something they got into. But let me jump off here. We'll end up unloading these logs in the log yard this evening. It's kind of footage caught through the day, just a typical day in the fall doing our thing. And I just caught some clips of this today and then put them together. Well, finished up our second day of cutting. I got to grease Brutus in the morning. Got down here to this deep friggin', finally got into some hard cutting. Or you know, some thick cutting. Boy, it sure is nice, Brutus, when you get to a thick spot. Well, yeah, and that's pretty much clear cut. It's not quite, but it's pretty much. And I got a chainsaw that tree. Chainsaw cut that bad boy in the morning. I'm gonna have to back across the line just a couple feet to push it. And I got 2 chainsaw trees up the way. And then that line runs down this way and makes a corner and then runs back up. And that edge of the field right there where the trees are hanging over, that's the line, property line running all the way out to the highway. And I've come through here clean except for one hand cut tree up there and one peninsula up there I gotta get. Heavy to ash, real heavy to ash, and an amount of poplar. I'm standing on a cherry here. Those of you don't know, it's a cherry tree. Wild cherry or black cherry. Let's go down here and look, see where that property line is. Boy, Brutus is doing good. I hate to go bragging on Brutus, but boy, that machine, like making a deal with the devil. Get to use that thing. There's some hand cutters, but there's not many. Brutus does most of them. Most of them. I hadn't hand cut a tree all day, but I've accumulated 3 or 4 hand cut trees through there. But that's it. All day. I cut I don't know how many semi-loads. And this ain't gravy ground, it ain't bad ground. It's pretty easy laying ground compared to what we've been on, but heck, what we've been on is pretty daggone bad. You know, it's a lot better. Oh yeah. Them white poles there, that's a property line coming up through there. And I don't know if he got... Now Chris, you didn't mark this ash up here, but he's a pretty good looking unit. Ask Big Daddy about that. We're supposed to be taking the ash out of this thing. The bugs is showing up here. So we've been kind of like working off UPS rules. If it fits, it ships. There's another ash back there he didn't want. I wonder. I'll talk to Big Dad. I'll talk to Chris tonight. I'll text Chris tonight to see what's going on there, because I think he'll want me to cut them. And I screwed up down the valley all the way out there close to the road. I screwed up. Cut a great big monstrous ash and lost the daggone thing. And wallered over 3 good little walnut trees. I'm not talking little, I'm talking big enough there's logs in them. Slender, straight. I mean a bad mistake. Bad mistake. Over an ash tree. Talk about feeling horrible. I felt horrible. Just horrible. But it's just a oversight this morning. I just made a mistake and caught me with my pants down. I was off on my geometry just a little bit. But that little peninsula out there I hadn't got cleaned up. But I got me a strip cut all the way through there clean. I just got that little peninsula up there. And then there's a bunch of harder laying ground, and I got cut with Brutus. There, you can't cut it. Heading down through. You know, it lays kind of like this. Just not terrible, but just aggravating enough. It don't mean to be done with a cutter, rubber tire cutter. It needs to be done with Brutus. But heck, Derek and Raji been cutting and skidding all day with the rubber cutter. It sure is nice having that. Man, I am grateful, very grateful right now for the way things are going. And 2 months ago, boys, I was about on borderline depression there a month ago. Well, just a month ago, really, month and a half. And boy, it's took a turn. Get these trucks unloaded.
So we call it getting a pipeline full. The pipeline is full. This is the bunch of us that's been logging. It's Stevie, me, Rob, and Derek that's bringing our loads in the evening. And things are going good out in the logging job. Looking good. Off to a good start. Rolling pretty smooth. The ground's in good condition. It's just, it can't be any more smoother. And the trees are a little bit smaller. We've been on them freakishly large trees there at the Mounds job, and now we got off of that and we're back in we're in large good timber, but it's more closer to normal size timber instead of the great big stuff. So that's a little bit of a relief, and it's light species like ash and well, heavy to ash pretty much, and some maple and poplar and stuff. And then ash and poplar, it's light species, and even maple. Lemon maple kind of sucks, but you know, relocating maple's not a problem. It's usually not big, freaky, heavy wood. It's dense. Maple's dense, but it just like it don't ever seem to be a big, heavy tree. You know, it just kind of seems to be a normal small. Maple's a slow growing tree. It's a hard maple is what I'm talking about. It's a slow growing tree, and they usually don't get real big and tall, that type of thing. You know, so they usually stay pretty manageable. But a lot of what you're seeing me pull off here is ash. I think the one on the top there might be a sycamore, but mostly what you're seeing is ash, and that's light stuff. That's light stuff. And the sap's down. You get up in the fall. See how the bark's sticking on there real good? When you get in the fall and get the sap down, man, the bark hangs in there good. It makes logs easier to handle. See almost all that on the rick beside where I'm loading. This is ash in my forks. There's a poplar on the ground and another big poplar on the ground. almost this whole load's ash and poplar. It looks like a big load, but it's not. It's a light load. This is actually a pretty light load Stevie's got on here, because it's all light species, and the species is all dried out. In the fall, your species way less when you're hauling loads in the fall. So logs hauled in the fall is light. It's the lightest time of year. Logs hauled in a wet part of the spring, that's your heaviest log you're hauling. That's the heaviest time of year. And also timber cutting and stuff in the fall and winter. Timber, you can cut and timber in a deciduous forest like we cut. You can get trees to do more of what you want it to do in the winter, in the fall and the winter, because the water's out of the canopy, and that water gets up in the canopy, and then leaves come on up in the canopy, and it weighs down a tree up top, and it makes a tree harder to do things with, harder to pull it when you're cutting it. The top weight, in the summer when it's wet and stuff. In the summer when it's wet and stuff, it makes it harder to pull a tree where you want it, manipulate where you want the tree to go, and things like that. And in the winter and the fall, it's like things get easy as far as cutting. And now in the winter, the logging sucks because it don't freeze. The ground don't hardly freeze up here. If you do, you just get a week or two or a couple, 3 weeks max in the winter of frozen, but that's about it to hold anything up to speak of. And I got Stevie unloaded, and he's gonna start kicking off his rig. So I'm trying to, when I'm unloading these logs in the evenings, I'm trying to pour it on, get them unloaded, get this stuff kicked off first, so we can all get home. We've all had a long day and done our deeds and stuff, and we're done finishing up. Now, what has Derek got on now? In that middle bunk, you'll see some hackberry, and I see some hickory over there. I can't tell if that's a white oak in the top bunk over in the middle or not. But it's still heavy to light species. Ash. See a red oak in there maybe. No, it looks like it's all ash. Of course, the thing about the ash is that the emerald ash borer we're trying to get the ash out of, that was a daggone honey locust, I believe. The darker tree was that rolled off the top. I think that's a walnut. Yep, that's a walnut on the bottom. If I can see in this editor good. No, I ain't. Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell with the editor here. Here's inside. Now the lever on the right there that you see me running with my pinky, that's the clamp. The joystick, see how I'm running it with my pinky? That's kind of how you get the joystick there to do, backs up, forwards down on the clamp there. And Stevie's tormenting me. He's a good feller. Man, he's some good fellers that work out here at the mill. I like the crap out of him. Sure am honored to get to work with people like I get to work with on a daily basis anymore. Not a lot of pull mess. It's just get your job done, do your thing, have a little bit of fun doing it. We like to have a little bit of fun doing our job around here. Day's too short to make it miserable. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. Day's too long to make it miserable. We work some pretty long hours and some weekends and stuff in the fall push-up time. Now I'm gonna speed her up. We're gonna get Derek's chucked off here. That's a good bite right there. Yeah, anytime you get the middle knocked out with 2 bites, you're doing good. Usually it's 3 bites on the front and the back on these trailers. Now that, I thought I seen is that a white oak I seen up there? Yeah. Yep, buddy. Big old white oak sitting on top there. And now we'll get Derek took care of. Now let's go down and head down here and get Robin. Kick his unit off, and then we'll finish up on Blackie down there. Now I like to park down the bottom of the log yard when we all roll in, because I usually grab the loader, and I park Blackie down there close to where I can step out of the loader and jump her on the back of my trailer and start cleaning it off and get out of here. Because usually in the evenings when I get back, that's when I'm trying to do my YouTube editing and stuff like that, so I like to get home and get to the editing computer. Usually the way my day works here, I don't know if y'all really even care or asked, but I'm going to tell you anyways, I guess. The way my day usually goes is, you know, I get up about 4:15, 20 after 4, and snooze till 4:30. I usually hit the snooze button a time or two. Get up, get ready, head to the mill. And me and Hartwick puts a band on in the morning. Helps Derek get his big unit started and do a little maintenance, do a little greasing and stuff, and make sure everything starts. Of course, this time of year when I'm doing this editing, it's the coldest time of year. It's Valentine's Day and everything's running cold, man. We're having some air problems this winter. We pump our air in a warm air compressor room, and then it goes out into the sawmill, and the coke sawmill, and it makes water. You get some freeze ups and stuff. I'll be changing some valving and stuff. We're doing better this winter than we did last winter, but we still battle air quite a bit. Thought about adding an alcohol system to our air stuff. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? We're running 2 75-horse screw compressors, and I thought about like an alcohol injection that we're running. I think our trunk line's 3 inches. So I mean, we're running a pretty big trunk line. We need a pretty big alcohol injection thing, but that would make life a whole lot better if I could do that. Just on the real cold days. It's only a problem on the real cold days. And we got air dryers and stuff, but the air dryers and the air dryers for our systems in the warm air compressor room. So after you dry your air, then you stick it out in the cold, and then of course you're making your condensation, you know, when it freezes up, you know. That's something I'll check into. Probably ain't going to help us this winter, but I might get it done through the summer and get it ready to go for next winter. You know, it'd be nice to kind of have. That'd save us a lot of grief. I don't know what that log is on that. That's maple. That funky looking log is up on top. That's a maple. It's hard maple, excuse me, sugar maple. That's what we're calling hard maple, sugar maple here. And then the soft maple's either red maple or silver maple. The hard maple is what people taps for their maple sugar or maple syrup. And as a matter of fact, I got that here from a buddy of mine. Maybe I'll go through it here and let him introduce you all to how the maple syrup's made and stuff like that. And I think I'll just see if I can get a hold of him and get that done this evening. I told him I've been wanting to do that and get him to kind of tell us all about the maple syrup. He's a good friend of the channel, and I'll get him on here in just a minute when I get done here. If I can get a hold of him, see if I can get a hold of him, and I'll open this up. Do what? Yeah. 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 That's what old boy's gonna run us through. Hang on. I'll be right back, y'all, when I get done unloading Blackie here. Record in 3, 2, 1. Hi everybody, I'm on here with my buddy Daniel from New Hampshire. Now he sent us a really cool gift. It's maple syrup, and it's real maple syrup. And I got to ask him questions because you could tell he knew what he was talking about. And once he got to explain, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I want him to tell you all about this maple syrup, the real stuff. All right, Daniel, go ahead, buddy.
Dan from New Hampshire. Hi, folks. Dan from New Hampshire. talking about maple syrup, there's a few different ways of extracting it from the trees. A lot of people do the tubing here. Go to a hardware store and you get what's called a maple tree bit. And
Hey, Daniel,
yep.
what did you say that was?
I don't know if they call it for maple trees, but you buy it. It's like in like the drill bit sawzall department. It drills through the bark, and then the cambium layer of the tree. Is that the outside of the tree, the cambium layer?
Yes.
The bark.
Yeah. Oh, I found the maple drill bits. Okay. Professional maple drill bit, tapping bit. Let me do that, and I'll pull this down, and I'll put this on there.
We used to have one that was run by gasoline.
Are you kidding me?
It was.
You had a gasoline-powered drill?
Yep. Then we would drive a spigot up in there, what they would call. And like I said, it was like a copper tubing, but it was square, and it was made out of stainless steel.
Okay.
And we'd drive that in the tree, and probably an inch from the end of the tubing would have just a tiny slit in it, and we'd hang like a galvanized milk bucket, I guess, if I'm trying to explain it.
Yes.
That's what we had. Depending on the diameter of the tree, we could hang more buckets. Like a good sized tree, we could, hang 4 or 5 buckets.
Okay.
And you get a good 5 or 6 hour run through the day.
And when did you say?
Pretty well.
When did you say running starts? After the tree thaws out, because you're doing it in the end of February, right?
February, March. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got.
Towards the end, it can be the first week in March. It can be later in March, or it can be. Sometimes it can be running, right now, but it's colder than a well digger's butt.
Yep.
Up here right now.
Yeah.
We've been in a pretty cold snap, but it takes between 30 and 50 gallons of sap to make a gallon of maple syrup. Beginning of the year, the trees have more sugar in them, of course, because none of it's going to the buds. It's all just freezing in the tree and then pouring out at night, and pouring out when it warms up and unthaws. They've been doing it for years. A lot of people are going to propane boilers. They have a tray of those underneath the evaporator. Kind of like the show Moonshiners, I guess. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, and let me look. The evaporator tray is what you was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I was talking about the heater sometimes that a lot of people use. They use propane.
Oh, yeah, okay. So the tray runs downhill and there's a spigot off the side. So what do you shut this?
You have like a hydrometer.
Yes, on the side here.
That you drop in syrup, you run it out into a spout, and you drop the hydrometer in, and it'll tell you the sugar content, and it's either going to be time to draw off, start cooling down, think about candy, or what. But the smart people that do it with wood and keep the heat perfect and that are really good at it. It's a pretty neat craft to watch.
Okay.
Really neat.
Okay.
And like I said, 35, 45 gallons of that sap to make a gallon of syrup. When I was young, about 12, they had a horse-drawn sleigh, and we used to carry 2 5-gallon buckets off like a yoke we had put on our necks and walk around the sugar grove filling buckets. You'd spill as much as not as much as we made, but it was it was not that easy on those old, big snowshoes.
Big what?
Snowshoes.
Okay.
Have you ever seen snowshoes?
Yeah, like the big.
Like the beaver tails.
Yeah, tennis racket looking things.
Yeah, you can't. I couldn't walk in those things.
Okay. Because when you're doing this up in your area, there's still snow on everywhere, isn't there?
That's when the sap is. If the snow will stay longer around the base of the tree, you'll get more product. When the tree starts heating up and the snow goes away, you lose in product.
Gotcha.
So, sugar content in the tree goes down. Sorry, and it takes more. It takes more gallons of sap to start making the product. I said that wrong. I apologize.
That's all right.
It's called maple syrup tubing and spigots, probably. These things are so hard to work on in the woods because they run through the groves, so they have to follow those because squirrels bite holes in them and limbs fall, and you're constantly walking tubing all year.
Gotcha. Oh, I see now. Oh, wow. Some of them's got wireless vacuum, state-of-the-art wireless vacuum maple sap tubing. Let me check that out. Interesting. So this is how. So when you did it, you was carrying buckets, but now there are a lot of them starting to change and do the tubing fields. Is that correct?
They make there's some farms around here that'll make 15,000 gallons. They have a huge farms, and they have they rent sugar grows from people.
Holy cow! There's one here, and I bet they got 3-inch pipeline.
Yeah, oh yeah. It can
my gosh.
Full bore. It can run full bore. Some days, like I said, it's called bucket overflow, and then there's nothing you can do. You can look down the sugar grove and the bucket's already running over. you haven't even got to them yet.
Wow. And these farms is making 15,000 gallon a year. How many acres are you talking of maple trees?
I'm not big on the acreage, but I know like a good size grove around here. I don't know what it cost them, but it must cost a pretty penny because the syrup is pretty expensive. But I know like a good sized maple grove around here are couple 200-300 yards.
Wow.
200-300 acres. I didn't mean
Gotcha.
yards.
And then they'll have a road system, and it probably goes downhill to the road system, and the road system be lower.
Now the sun, what do they call it? the warm side of the hill, the north or south side.
The south or southwest?
So south side here, they, I think that they try to put the taps and where it's going to heat up
Okay.
quicker.
Okay. Gotcha. I guess the water flows, the part that thaws out, that's where the water really starts to flowing up the tree. Then the tree's sucking pretty hard on that side then, isn't it?
It gets like a siphon going almost through the veins of those trees.
Okay. Well, you sent some candies. Here's the candies. And here's the actual maple syrup. Now, I don't know if you'd covered this. I was looking stuff up on the internet. But this stuff is actual real maple syrup. This is what you buy at Walmart. It's nothing like what this actually is. Is that correct? That's correct?
Nothing close to it. Like the guy, I called him, a good friend of mine. His name's Will. And I called him, and he was at my house in a day or two with the maple syrup, and I gave him a check, and we chatted for a little, about half hour or so, and he headed out. He still does soft pine slab wood. What you get off with the wood miser sawmill, like just outside the stuff that still got bark on it.
Yeah.
Just so they can, what do they call it, blocking up a tree, or what do you call it? You're getting to get the can, or what do you try to get out
Slabbing. Cutting slabs off the side, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Until you get a can, right?
Yep, until you get a square can. You got to take a round log, and you're cutting a round log straight, so you got to cut the slabs off the side of it. So he's taking pine, so he's got a wood miser, and he's sawing pine wood, and he's taking the slabs off the side of it and burning them to cook off his syrup, right?
Yep.
Or what that's not cooking off, that's fart. What do you call that? The actual process of it ain't refining, or is it refining?
It kind of is reclaiming. We call it making maple syrup.
Okay.
That's what we say. We're going to the sugar shack, and usually on the weekend, everybody would get together, and everybody would bring their own beer. And
wait a minute. That's where the sugar shack come from?
Oh yeah.
I'll be damned.
The sugar shack weren't a joke on Friday, right after people got out of work, until usually Sunday. But never during the week, just on the weekends. Weekend warriors.
Well, that's freaking neat. Everybody out there, Daniel, we're going up to 17 minutes. If you feel like we've got it all covered, I'll shut her down. We did talk about the tray, right? You talked about the tray, didn't you?
Yep, the different size trays you can get.
Okay, and you talked about the tap, and you talked about the drill bits, you talked about the tap, talked about the tubing.
You can see them all online, and the tanks and the pumps they have now, and the gravity. Everything is gravity. And I can tell you one quick thing is now they got this thing before it starts in the evaporator. It's called reverse osmosis.
Okay.
And it'll take that sap, and as it spins or goes through there, it takes out. So say you were taking 40 gallons to 40 gallons of sap to make a gallon. After it came out of the reverse osmosis, it would only take you 18 gallons, 20 gallons, half, usually a little less than half.
Okay.
But though you have to heat both, so you have to have kind of two furnaces made.
Okay.
I don't know, the old ones reminded me of, if you know the show Moonshiners, kind of.
Okay. No, I never did see Moonshiners, but I've heard of it a bunch. Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. Well.
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, folks. Wade, I want to say thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Bubba. Thank you for coming on here and explaining it to us. I just, like I said, once you started talking about it, I was like, now, wait a minute. This is neat. I'll get him on here and tell everybody.
All right.
Just stay on the phone a minute. Thanks, everybody. And on behalf of Daniel, thank everybody again. And
thank you, folks. This is Dan. Have a good night.
Night, guys.